All right, guys, let's look at lesson 3, which is temperature conversions. What is temperature? Temperature is the measure of the average kinetic energy. We're going to talk about this a lot more when we talk about gases in the second semester. But for right now, all you need to know is that temperature is the measure of the average kinetic energy that the particles have that you're measuring the temperature of. So there are 3 temperature scales, okay? There's the Kelvin scale, there is the Celsius scale, and there is the Fahrenheit scale. We're mostly used to the Fahrenheit scale, knowing that water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and the average body temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's all and great for America, but when we talk about science, science is a global language, so we need to use a different kind of measurement. We need to use the metric system. And so the other 2 temperature scales are the ones that we're going to be most interested in. So let's talk about the Celsius scale. The Celsius scale is what we're going to be, all of our thermometers in class, anytime we measure something, we'll measure our temperature in Celsius. So the freezing point of water at Celsius is 0 degrees, and the boiling point for water is 100 degrees. And any temperature below 0 is negative. So in a Celsius scale, you can have a negative temperature. Let's look at next. So when we're looking at Celsius, you can have negative temperature. Water boils, we go in 100-degree intervals, okay? Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, and the normal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Then there's the Kelvin scale. Kelvin scale is what we use when we are talking about particles a lot. Water freezes at 273 degrees Kelvin and boils at 373 degrees Kelvin. The theoretical point of absolute 0 is when all molecular motion stops. You've heard absolute 0 referred to in Big Bang Theory if you're a Big Bang fan. Basically, up to this point, we have not reached absolute 0. We have not been able to get to 0 Kelvin. Kelvin can never be negative. Always, always, always going to be positive. We have, like I said, once we reach absolute 0, which is 0 degrees Kelvin, scientists have found that there's a special particle there. We'll talk about that in the next unit. The divisions or degrees are the same as in Celsius. They go up by hundreds. So when we're looking at the Kelvin scale, the lowest temperature you can have for water is 273 degrees Kelvin. The highest temperature is 373 degrees Kelvin. That's where water boils. And then 310 degrees Kelvin is the normal body temperature. Remember, we have gotten to within tens of hundreds of a 0 degree Kelvin, but we actually haven't hit 0 degrees Kelvin on the mark. We're working on it though. So how do we convert between the temperature scales? For this class only, you're going to need to know how to convert from Celsius to Kelvin because we never measure in Fahrenheit. So the formula is Kelvin temperature is equal to whatever degrees Celsius temperature you have plus 273. Where can you find this formula? This formula is in that fabulous table T that we have in the back of our packet. Remember that table that all of our formulas are on? This is one of them. It's all the way at the bottom. Looks just like this. So, let's look at an example problem. What is the temperature in Kelvin of an object that is 55 degrees Celsius? Well, the first thing I would do if I were you is pull out my data and my sheet to look for my formula. Okay? So Kelvin is equal to Celsius plus 273. We're looking for the temperature of Kelvin, and we're given a degree of Celsius of 55 degrees. So 55 plus 273, our Kelvin temperature is 328 Kelvin. You just add the 2 of them together. It is that easy. Let's look at another example problem. What is the temperature in Celsius of an object that is 150 degrees Kelvin? Well, this one's a little different. Now I'm going backwards. So instead of adding, what's the opposite of addition? Probably subtraction. So let's look at this. Kelvin is equal to degrees Celsius plus 273. Let's plug in what we have. 150 degrees Kelvin is equal to degrees Celsius plus 273. How do I solve for degrees Celsius? I'm going to subtract 273 on each side. When I do that, I get negative 123 degrees Celsius as my final temperature. Let's look at a practice problem. What is the temperature in Kelvin of an object at 24 degrees Celsius? Pause the video. We'll go over it when you're ready. Great. Well, welcome back. What'd you come up with? So you should have found your formula, which is Kelvin is Celsius plus 273. Should have plugged in 24 for your degrees Celsius and added 24 plus 273. When you did that, you get 297 degrees Kelvin. Awesome. Now let's try your check your understanding. Remember, in order to get credit for your homework, you need to do your check your understanding. This is one of the first things that we're going to go over tomorrow in class. See you then.